They say that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, the picture that you see right here, truth be told, would be worth more than 1,000 words, given it was perhaps the last action that you will see of a Shubman Gill in T20I cricket for quite a while. Chopping it onto the stumps, looking absolutely hapless, and now out of the team. Because quite frankly, let's face it, if you're looking at it from a form perspective, then Gill should never have even come back into the team, let alone gotten such a long run. But the fact is that he's now been dropped from the side for the T20 World Cup. And what it also means is that India have potentially moved on from the Gill experiment, right? Right? Well, not so much. Because again, if you go over what it is that the chairman of selectors, Ajit Agarkar, had to say about Gill's omission, it was very clear that it came down to two major factors. One was a lack of runs for him right now, yes. The other was down to combinations. What combinations? Well, let's take a look. First off, he says this: we know that Gill is a quality player. Perhaps he's short of some runs at the moment. Combinations also played a part. We wanted a keeper at the top. Now, the real question here is, and I understand what it is that Agarkar is trying to say, but did you want a keeper at the top, or were you forced to go with the keeper in Sanju because you had no choice, given your first choice in Shubman wasn't actually doing anything? That seems to be the more pertinent answer. But of course, in the guarded world of the BCCI, that's not what you're going to get. They're just going to say, no, we felt maybe a keeper at the top would be better, given we've got Sanju, and Gill wasn't in good form. Well, then that should surely shut the door on that experiment for the time being, right? Well, not so much, because the combination things makes it seem like a small door is being left ajar for you to go back to this in the near future. When that near future would be, we don't know yet, because again, once this T20 World Cup is done, the focus is going to be on ODIs. You could be seeing it happen then. There's plenty of debate over Sky's future. He's 35, not getting any younger, and has seen his own form nosedive big time. Maybe the Gill experiment isn't over yet. That's what I can read into this. In fact, I read that even more when you're looking at some of the rather spirited defenses you had of Gill by Agarkar in this particular press conference. This is what he had to say when he was questioned as to whether or not Gill's inclusion disrupted what was basically a settled side, and whether or not it was a case of picking better players or picking a worse player in place of better players. He said that, no, look, we keep discussing the best combinations with everyone. A quality player in Gill was playing, so no one or nothing was really compromised. But again, I will go back to something that I have said on this channel prior, is that in including Gill, you basically killed off the careers temporarily, at least of 3 players. You sent Yashasvi Jaiswal packing in the format, and he's still out, albeit there's still an understandable reason, given that Ishan Kishan plays exactly the same role as Sanju, and in that case could potentially is the only backup opener. You also eliminated Rinku Singh from the squads, albeit temporarily, because he's back now. And you also got Sanju Samson out of the 11 because you had to play Gill in place of Samson, but you also had to get Samson either lower down the order or out of the 11 because you needed another wicket keeper. So you can't tell me that no one was compromised. Sorry, I refuse to believe that. Definitely a lot of people were compromised in this particular Shubman Gill experiment. There's no denying the fact that there were a lot of people who ended up catching flack for it that they didn't deserve. Rinku Singh didn't deserve to be dropped. Sanju Samson surely didn't deserve to be dropped. And Yashasvi Jaiswal deserved to at least be kept in the squad if you couldn't figure out where it is to place him in the 11. In bringing in Gill, you basically temporarily put a stopgap on all of these 3 players. So to tell me that no one was compromised, I refuse to believe, especially when you consider that India's T20 form did see a bit of a dip because you weren't getting those attacking starts that you were when Samson and Abhishek were opening. But with Gill and Abhishek opening, you did see things become very Abhishek dependent. So please don't tell me that, oh, no one was compromised. You did compromise the team, and you were worried about compromising the team for the T20 World Cup, which is why you made the change before the World Cup. Simple as. But of course, these were the only major talking points. He was also quizzed about the return of Ishan Kishan, which in itself was a very big talking point, by the way. Because again, this is the same Ishan Kishan who hasn't played international cricket in over 2 years at this point, and who many believed would need to be playing domestic cricket consistently to get that comeback. He did just that, won the S match with Jharkhand, and now he's back. So what exactly led to it? Well, as according to Agarkar, he said that, look, if your keeper is going to bat at the top, then we wanted another keeper to play the same role. Jitesh hasn't done too much wrong. Now, if you go over Jitesh's numbers quickly, you'll realize that Agarkar is actually telling the truth here. Yes, Jitesh hasn't done too much wrong. He was playing in a very thankless finisher's job, and he did get a couple of good knocks. There was a 5-ball 10. There was a 27 of 11, 12 balls in one T20 against South Africa. So he was getting them. Basically, he was doing the finishing job. The problem is that once it became clear you needed a top order batter, then Jitesh automatically has to go. Because if your backup opener also has to be a wicket keeper, Jitesh isn't doing that role. He's not an opener. He's a lower order finisher. So that's why he had to go out. And as for Ishan, he also made it clear that, look, whatever happened in the past with Ishan is in the past. None of that matters in today's day and age. We're not looking at it like that. We needed an opener. He happened to be in good form, and so we brought him back. Easy peasy. But it also opened up to more questions over why it is that other players from domestic cricket weren't suggested, to which he has a rather short reply. He said that, look, we can only pick 15, right? Even if we discuss 10 other names, this is what we feel is best. Or are Bumrah and Arshdeep not good enough? Very testy there, I'd say, from Mr. Agarkar. But he does make a good point. Who else could you possibly include in this 15 from domestic cricket? No one, right? That's why no one else came in. You can let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tap the bell icon and follow us on social media.